today's topic is Sales for Startup Founders. The event is part of the Migrant Talent Garden project, which is financed by Iceland, Liechtenstein, and Norway through the EEA and Norway Grants Fund for Youth Employment. And we are really happy that you are here with us today. And we would like to inform you that this presentation is live streamed and recorded as well. If you have any questions to ask, feel free to ask in our comment sections or at the question time after our speaker's presentation. And today we are starting off with the 6th event of Migrant Talent Garden. And as I mentioned before, today's topic is Sales for Startup Founders with Monika Holland. Monika is the founder of Bold Business Decision, a strategic commercial advisory service for startups and scale-ups. She is an executive sales leader, and her versatile background and expertise in sales and business development position her as a strategic commercial advisor. Monika, we are really happy that you are here with us today, and we are ready for your presentation.
Thank you so much, Vanessa. Thank you for joining me today. First of all, I would not like to speak to myself tonight. It would be great if you had a possibility. I understand completely if you're busy and multitasking at the same time and trying to learn something in the same time while you're doing something else. However, if you have a chance to have a video and audio on, that would be great. And because I would like to have this as a more interactive session, if that's okay with you. We will be trying to answer a very interesting question, and that is, do startup founders need to know how to sell? We'll have, I'll share my slides in a little bit, but I would also like to know more about you, about your startup idea, about where you are in the journey, whether you are, have a brilliant idea and in the journey towards the MVP and creating a business, whether you already have founded a business, whether you're active, what's your background, and whether and what's your expectation overall for this session. Thinking about that, we will be talking about sales for founders. I see 3 people open. Thank you. Nice to see you. Oh, there's more people coming. Great. Don't be shy. All right. So I'll very quickly present myself. I'm on a personal level. I'm Lithuanian. I've been traveling around the world. I have worked in different countries in sales, starting with Italy, then US, UK, Netherlands. And now I'm back in Italy as a digital nomad. I have founded Bold Business Decisions a couple of years ago with the idea that I can help more companies than just one. But before that, I worked in the corporate world, primarily in sales, in tech sales. Sales and tech are 2 passions that I have. So notice that my background and expertise fits very well with early startup founders and early startups in general, and just decided to help more startups to navigate sales, really. I meet a lot of founders that do not have sales in their background. They're perhaps are operational or technical, and sales is something that they're not very comfortable with or do not know a lot about. So basically we will be talking about that today. As I said, I would love to hear about you as well. Nicole is smiling at me, so I'm just going to go ahead and ask you, Nicole, to share your background.
Sure. Hi, everyone. Actually, I think you're the first one who ever encouraged us to show on camera, because these events are usually live. So hi, everyone. Like, I recognize so many of the names here, but I've never seen your faces. So this is kind of really nice. So my name is Nicole. I am originally from Bulgaria. And Lithuania is actually the third country where I'm living. I did a bachelor degree in business and marketing in Sweden, and then my best friend was a Lithuanian, so that's how the connection happened, and I ended up here. So, you know, business school and everything, it was always a really big dream of mine to have a business, but it took a little bit to find the right like direction for what service or goods to sell. So my idea is to start a coaching business, like coaching and corporate training, because this is quite a big part of my professional background. So I kind of have the feeling that I have the skills and the material, you know, like I have been trained in this for a while. And currently in my journey, I already have some clients. I'm just looking for a way to make it legal. And also I would like to break away from the corporate life and focus on this. So hopefully, you know, in the next year or so, I would be able to replace my income with this business. And I am here today because, well, I mentioned, you know, I have the experience and the skill and the knowledge, but sales make me cringe so hard. You know, I'm not that type of person that likes to likes to talk about a lot about myself and my experience or how good am I. And I always thought that this is kind of necessary in sales. So I'm really looking forward to hear just what you have to tell us today, and maybe just about this more human approach that I have noticed is taking place on social media. People talk a lot about human-centered selling and, you know, this kind of technique. So I hope, you know, you will share with us.
Very nice. Mm-hmm. Thank you for sharing, Nicole. Who's going next? Don't see any raised hands.
And now also nobody wants to smile at you anymore. So you picked up on me. They're like, don't smile.
Hello. Hello.
Hello.
As you can see, I'm not active youth anymore. I just moved, I'm going to move to Lithuania and in a small place called Sagari, and I'm planning to make a little tourism business, so I could be making some tours for Finnish tourists. I'm from Finland, so the camper vans and auto and motorcycle tourists could stop here, and I could tell them stories around and show them places and so on. So that's what a kind of idea I have. And one friend of mine recommended this Migrant Talent Garden and join even if I'm a little bit older. So I'm glad to be here, and I have been listening to several lectures already.
Very nice. Jarmo, age is just a number.
I know. I feel quite young. Even younger when I see you too.
A quick question: Do you ride motorcycles yourselves? Is that your passion? Are you combining your business with your passion?
What do you say?
You said that you will have tours for motorcycle people who ride motorcycles.
Yeah.
Is that something you do as well?
Yeah, I have
a
scooter, and many of my friends have camper vans and so on. And actually, I'm studying tourism in online university in Finland, so I'm getting a new career now.
Very interesting.
Yeah. Okay.
Very nice. Thank you for sharing. Who's next? We cannot hear you.
Yeah, I can go next.
Go ahead.
My name is...
Can you please tell me, yes, how you pronounce your name, please?
Yeah. You can pronounce it shorter. You can say Nizam. I'm from Uzbekistan. I'm a recent graduate from Lithuania. Well, I was studying in Lithuania. So I did studies in international business administration. And currently I'm working as a sales analyst.
Okay.
So yeah, a little bit of knowledge in sales.
Okay.
I did my internship at the Embassy of Belgium, and currently, and actually, I also did my final work at university, which was a business plan of a restaurant in the United States. But now my idea is the already existing business in Uzbekistan that my family has, which is the tire recycling business. It involves less of a digital work and like the technology, but more of a production side. Yeah, and I'm thinking to use the same kind of business model, but to create an office in Lithuania, which allows the distribution all over European Union.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very interesting. Thank you, Lisa, for sharing.
Yeah.
Who's next? Well, we have only one other person left with open camera. The floor is yours.
Hi, I'm Hari Prasanna. Basically, I'm from India, and I'm doing my PhD in Kaunas Institute of Technology in Lithuania. So we have a team of young graduates and engineers who is working on a different field. So basically, our idea is to have a vehicle which can drive on walker's lane or bicycle path, which has usually we have all weather vehicle. Now we have a Bolt or something which is you can drive during the summer, because in winter it's difficult to drive the vehicle. So we have a unique way of design the vehicle which we can drive during the winter. So we're working on that. A team of around 10 people. Yeah.
Okay, so you have a team already of 10 people working on
Yes,
it, on the project.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Is anyone on your team, does anyone have a sales background?
Sales, no, we don't have. Yes.
Okay. Okay. How do you pronounce your name, please?
Hari.
Hari?
Yeah.
Okay.
The team we have is Auto Mantra.
Okay. Okay. Very nice. Thank you for clarifying that, Hari. Okay.
Thank you.
All right. We have other people on the call, but I think they're either too shy to speak or just not able to share their story at the moment. Oh, there's someone else. Is it from your team? Is that correct? Okay.
He like to share his view as well.
Right. Matteo, Irina, Eran, Diana, Yanis. Oh, we spoke to Yanis. No, we spoke to Yarmo. Okay. Okay, good. So thank you for sharing, who was able to share. Let me share my screen and let's get cracking. So what I would like to do is go through the slides, but I would also like you to ask questions. I would like it to be more interactive. Just raise your hand, stop me, say something. If you want, it doesn't need to be a question. If you have, something relative to share that resonated with you, go ahead. I would not want to, like I said in the beginning, to talk to myself. I would like to kind of steer the conversation as well in the way that it's useful to you. and not just, theory that you will never use. So sales for startup founders, we have a long list on the agenda. It doesn't mean that we will deep dive in every single piece of this of the items on the list. However, I put together kind of a initial goal for a founder to understand or to have a grip. Just, what does it mean? Why is it important? Okay, so for Nizam, perhaps these are the concepts that he already knows, masticates for breakfast every day, no problem at all, right? For some others will be something completely new, or perhaps something they have heard of, but not really, paid much attention. And the goal, obviously, of sales is the engine of your business, right? So whether we like it or not, some understanding of sales is useful. I think we'll all agree on that. When we are creating a repeatable process within a company, the main goal is obviously to reach predictable revenue, to understand that we're going in the right direction, we're getting traction. If there's something that we need to adjust, we need to know where to look into our business. Obviously, every business starts with a defined goal. We have a product, we have, and we're talking about sales, obviously. We have a product, we have perhaps achieved product market fit, and then we will start selling. Working with early startup founders, that's probably the most critical point, is how do I get my first customers? How do I onboard them? What's the process? Do I need a process? Is just me and the founder? We know our customers. We have identified them, right? So before I get into a rant about that, what we'll touch upon is sales and marketing strategy. What needs to be in the sales and marketing strategy? Revenue goals, ICP and market segmentation. Some of you will probably already know, have heard of it. We'll not go very deep into it. We'll touch upon because it's the founding piece of sales. This is where we start. Lead generation, how do we generate leads? Where do we find our customers? The same distribution channels depending on what we sell, right? What is an inbound strategy? What is an outbound strategy? When we hear those concepts, what are the available, is it available for us to look into? When do we start building a sales team? That's another biggie. We have, is it right at the start when we just founded our company? Is it down the road when we have paying customers? So these are the answers that we'll try to find. Sales process, sales cycle, sales playbook, buyer's journey, and sales team. We'll very briefly touch about metrics, because metrics is very business specific. A SaaS company will have completely different metrics than a coaching business. Okay, and we'll look into the tech stack. What is available for us? What kind of tools we can use to facilitate sales? So the $1 million question for today is, do founders need to know how to sell? Now, it's a trick question, obviously, because knowing how to sell is very different than actually selling, right? So we'll try to answer the question, do founders need to know how to sell, but do they actually need to be selling as well? And these are completely two different things, right? So let's say you already defined your revenue goals, you achieved your product market fit, you sized your market, perhaps you onboarded your first customers, also known as early adopters. Any questions on early adopters and growth customers? Do we know the difference? No, okay. So every business, once we have sized our market, right? We have the total addressable market, we have the TAM, the SOM that you probably have studied already. In the first 2 years, realistically, once we have sized the addressable market, we can take 2.5 to 5% max of that market as a startup. This is as a general, obviously, rule. Okay. And the first customers will be early adopters. Now, early adopters are the ones who are, if we're talking about business to business, would be other businesses who are looking for a disruptive solution that will put them ahead of the curve and will put them ahead of the competition. They are not price sensitive. Attention, they're not price sensitive. The biggest value for them is innovation. Okay, so these are called the early adopters. The ones who will be driven to you just because you're disrupting, you're bringing in innovation, you're simplifying a process, whatever that is. Okay. Now, growth customers at the same time will be watching you. They are not risk takers. They are more sensitive and take more time to adopt change, but they will be watching you. And once you have achieved social proof, you will have raving customers, will be your early adopters, saying, this is amazing, it works, we achieved great results by adopting this product solution. Then your growth customers will be more warmed up to you because the risk is diminished. You have social proof. So the question that I very often get from the startup, working with startups, is how do we build trust? We have we just have a couple of customers. We have no social proof. How do we build trust and transition into getting more growth customers? Because growth customers are the ones who will churn less. They will stay for longer because their buying decisions are made in a different way and their buying reasons or motivation to buy are different. Okay. So the best way to start as a startup, to start building trust, that social proof, is to have your customers enroll either on a freemium basis, on a special offer basis, where we communicate. And the way we communicate that to our growth to our customers or early adopters is very important. We will say since we are still in beta mode or in beta stage, we're still finalizing our product, we are extending this offer to 50, 100, whatever that is, you will decide, customers, to test out and give us honest feedback, the good and the bad.
The good you will use to start building social proof with their permission to share on social media, obviously on your website, and communicate to your future customers. The bad, obviously, you will use to improve your product. Okay. We can communicate that this offer is for a limited amount of time. You will decide what makes sense to you revenue-wise, of course, how long you're able to extend a free offer or a limit or a lower price, whether it's 3 months, 6 months, 2 weeks, right? You will have to make a decision on that. But that is how you start. This is the very, very beginning, right? Is how you communicate to your first customers. All right. So you're probably very comfortable already with the ICP, ideal customer profile notion. So when we talk about ideal customer profile, and again, here we're talking about both growth customers and your early adopters. We will talk about not only demographics, and there are so many. If you Google, ICP formats, there's so many of them. What I would advise is to actually adopt it, the format of ICP, to what is important to you, to your customers, what is relevant to your business. The most important part is, what are the goals of your ideal customer? What are they trying to achieve? Are they solving a problem? Challenges, pains, right? Are they trying to get a job done in a more efficient way? What can we do to help? How we will help them with our product solution? And what will be the impact of our solution or product after they have adopted it? Right? So this will be very important. This is the very, very basic basis of sales. From here, you will build your sales and marketing strategies. You will build everything, really. Once you will hire your sales team, this is what they will ask for. They will want to know, what are we selling and who are we selling to? What's the impact? What is the problem that we're solving, right? Any questions here? No? Oh, good. Okay. And of course, we want to know the demographics. Of course, we want to know the job titles, especially if we're talking B2B. Our ideal customer profile is another company. And again, a lot of times, if you ask a startup, say, okay, who is your customer? If we're talking B2B, they will say, these are the companies that are generating revenue from 100,000 K to a million, or this is our ideal customer profile. They're located there and there. However, we need, especially when we talk about B2B, we need to understand the buyer personas. Who is the person within that company that cares about the problem that you're solving? Is it the CTO? Is it general manager? Who is the person? Because once we start building our sales and marketing machine, if we are talking to everyone, no one will buy. So we need to identify our buyer personas and talk to that specific person. which means that you might have more than one buyer personas, and that's in a lot of cases, especially if we talk about B2B, because one can be the actual person who will be using your solution, or another one will be a decision maker who will be paying for it. Sometimes it can be the same person. Sometimes it can be a different person. So, example, if we're talking about a reservation system, you will have two buyer personas probably. In a big, especially in a bigger organization, there will be one person who will be using the reservation system, and there will be another person, a CEO, CFO, who will be paying for, founder, who will be paying for it. And their needs and the value proposition to those two people will be different. So how we will communicate to them will be very, very important. So to the user, value proposition will be how easy it is to use, how much time it will save me. Something like that, right? When we speak to the decision maker probably will not care how much time it will save to the user. But the decision maker will care how fast this will pay off. Will it generate additional customers with this new process? Will I make more money? Right? How easy is the transition from the old way to the new way? So when we will talk to these two buyer personas, we have to make sure that we tune into their specific needs and what they're trying to solve, what is their personal motivation to buy, right? So besides all this demographic information, jobs to be done, what will be the impact is the most important piece, like we said here. And when we will build our communication, this is what we will drive our conversations with goals to achieve, jobs to be done, and how our solution, what will happen, how their life will change after they have adopted our solution. Any questions here? No. Good. So these are just a couple of examples. So this is where we're talking about the demographics, what we would want to know about them. Perhaps it's interesting also, where do they hang out? What kind of social platform do they use? Because this is where our distribution will be as well. How we will find them? What do they read? When they make buying decisions, what do? Do they go on YouTube? Do they go on Facebook? Do they go on just Google for a solution to whatever goal they're trying to achieve, a problem to be solved, right? Where are our customers? Do they hang out in LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok? This is why it's important, because then we will spend money in ads, in Google ads, Facebook ads, Instagram ads, based on that information. That is why ICP is important. I see a message in the chat. Yeah, thank you. If you have any questions, please do ask. Okay. Then moving on. This is a little blurry, I apologize, but this just to reinforce what we just discussed. So once we have it, and one advice that I can give is start writing everything down early. I meet a lot of founders that are still in early stage, but already, the machine is already generating money, revenues are flowing, they're getting busier and busier. Who's your customer? We know who our customer is. We have everything here. And then they don't have time to start writing it down because it's busy. Okay, there's other priorities. So start writing everything down as early as you can. Now, ICP is not one-off event. You will be refining it over and over again, by talking to your customers. Once you have paying customers, start an open conversation with them. Ask feedback early and often, especially in early stage, because then you can pivot, you can adjust, very, very important. So for sales and marketing strategy, so once we are, we have the product market fit, we start thinking, okay, we should have some kind of process in place to start going in one direction. We'll still be distracted because we're still a startup. There's one ICP, then there's another use case coming through. Should we, focus on this use case? Should we explore another use case? And we get distracted. Where it's really good to explore different use cases, at the same time, it's very important to keep focus. So from strategy point of view, strategy allows you to have focus. What use founders decided that you will do. And whenever you have a distraction, you can always go back to your business plan, to your sales and marketing strategy, go back and see, okay, is this still in line of what we decided at the beginning? Do we need to modify it? Or do we just continue and focus on what we decided in the beginning? So if we talk about sales, talking about lead generation distribution channels, if we talk about the sales process as part of sales and marketing strategy, we will talk about sales methodology, how we're going to sell. Obviously, we have defined already who our customer is, where they hang out. We'll have to have a methodology, how we're going to reach out to them. Are we going to spend money on ads? Are we going for inbound sales strategies? So we'll put information out there for our sellers to find us, our buyers, to find us. Will it be organic? LinkedIn posts, you're active on social media. Will it be paid traffic? Google ads, pay-per-click, or we're talking about Instagram ads, or wherever your customers are. Account-based marketing comes under here as well. Account-based marketing is basically targeting your ICP with specific ads on social media or in internet in general. So now it is possible that you can expose the information specifically for a solution. Outbound sales strategies are part of, so prospecting and multi-channel outreach is part of outbound sales strategies. Here, all we're saying is that we will have a sales team or a couple of people who know what they're doing in sales, and they will be activating a multi-channel outreach. Now, multi-channel outreach is called a way of doing sales, reaching out to your potential buyers in different ways, meaning we will call them, we will send them an email, we will reach out to them via social media, We'll engage with them in different ways. And we'll keep the communication going the way we will adapt to the communication line that they are communicating back to us. Some might not be picking up the phones or responding to our emails, but will respond to our Facebook message or LinkedIn message. Okay. So the multi-channel outreach is currently the most effective sales process, as part of the sales process. Another question, actually, I should ask if this is clear or there are any questions. Clear. Okay. Now, not sure if you're familiar with Kevin Hale. He is one of the Y Combinator professors. He is a startup or serial entrepreneur, has had several companies and exits. So when it comes to sales, this is what he says about the sales, how sales should be generated. So anything 2K, by the way, this is more adapted to tech startups. Anything below 2K in revenue should be all self-serve. So we shouldn't invest into any sales efforts because otherwise it will not pay off. We're not going to be profitable. So the customers it's all generated, all inbound by Google ads and any other social media ads where the customers are targeted in this way. They will come to our website and they enroll themselves. Okay. Transactional, 2 to 10K, meaning that we will have we'll have customer service, perhaps helping them with onboarding, if that's necessary. Enterprise is where we want to have a team of salespeople that will actually go after these kind of customers. This is where we can afford it. 25K and up. We can afford a sales team, and we should have a sales team going after enterprise accounts. Questions? No. Clear. All right. Now, who from you has done everything that we have just discussed, has already defined their ICP, and wants to share something with us before we go any further?
I've done it for, not for my business fund, but for work. Yeah, because I am working as a sales analyst at Cast AI, which is a cloud computing cost optimization tool. So we had to determine the ICP list of companies, the leads, the decision makers, the influencers. So we would differentiate them, but still collect their data. Yeah, mostly we would target people based on their job title and the position and what they do, because we provide cost optimization solution, and it's a little bit complicated for the software engineers who don't usually work with cloud to understand the concept, and there is actually no need to contact the developers and rather go for the higher position. But we also don't focus on like CTOs, CEOs, C-levels, because they are the decision makers, but it's still kind of early to contact them, because they just basically make a decision, but they, as you said, they don't really care about what the tool is. They care about the cost and how much it can cut. So they would just basically sign off on the contract whenever everything is ready and present it to them and present it clearly. So first we have to contact specific people who work with cloud. Then we basically talk about our product, introduce them, maybe provide them some trial options. And then if they are okay with that, then they would go for the C-levels and just explain all the benefits, basically.
So they become your ambassadors within the company and help you sell to the decision maker, basically.
Yeah, exactly.
Are these enterprise accounts? Are they SMBs?
Yeah, well, I mean, we have tons of accounts, but we decided not to go for the enterprises because it takes a little bit too long, about a year, to go through all this process, because there are tons of employees and the processes. So we do target SMEs, but enterprise accounts are also beneficial, but it just takes too long, for them to approve this. But obviously they would pay more. The enterprise accounts would pay more, but it just takes, because of the bureaucracy, I guess.
The procurement process is probably long.
Yeah. So that's my experience.
Very interesting. So the strategy, right? They have decided not to go for the enterprise accounts because the sales cycle is too long, and it's more profitable to target SMEs than go after the enterprise accounts. So this is all part of your strategy. This is, and that you will be adjusting as you go. So initially you think, okay, enterprise accounts will probably be, very profitable. Just go after them. And once you have tested, in real life, that's why, sales and marketing is a process. It's not one, when we talk about ICP, when we talk about all the strategies, pricing strategies, it's a process that will have to continually verify and adjust. And I think that's the main, if that's the main takeaway today, is great. Nicole, you wanted to say something? Okay. All right. So when we talk about sales process, what should be part of a sales process? So we'll have the method we said, we'll have the steps, we'll have the approaches, and the actual activity. What and how of the process of getting our customers onboarded. So the sales process is very effective when it's mapped to your customer buying journey, and we'll talk about the buyer's journey as well. Because we can decide this is how we're going to sell, right? The reality is, if we sell the way we want to sell, we'll have a very hard time. We need to sell the way buyers want to buy. And that is very important. That is why we have buying journey. We have to understand, and again, that comes with a process. If we won't understand that, from the first day we start selling. It will be a process. It will be a lot of trial and error, a lot of conversations with buyers who did buy and who didn't buy. So make sure that you ask, why did they buy? What was the main reason they bought? And what was the main reason they didn't buy? Because it will be part of the buyer's journey. How do they come across your product or solution? What is the goal they're trying to achieve? How do they go about it, solving that problem or achieving that goal? And what are the stages in the customer journey? And we'll go through that as well. So it's most effective when it's mapped to your customer buying journey, when it's documented, and it's measurable in every step. And obviously it's effective. So what is a process? What's part of the sales process? We said we'll have a methodology. And again, this can be very different depending on what we sell. If we're talking about technology, we'll probably have a solution selling methodology that we will use. Nicole will probably use a consultative method, trying to help achieve a certain goal, right? We'll have a process, we'll have a marketing process, we'll have a sales process, how we're going to find our customers, where, how we will communicate to them. And these are our plays, right? Inbound, outbound that we discussed previously. Account-based marketing that we mentioned as well. These are the ways we will attract our new customers. Will we put out content, engaging content, and they will come to us? Will we go after them? Or we'll do both? Okay. What are the actual activities that we will look into? And again, multi-channel outreach is the most effective. Then we'll have a sales cycle. We'll define a sales cycle that works for us. Again, every company will have a different sales cycle depending on what you're selling. In general, these are the main steps. If it's inbound, we'll have the customer reach out to us. Perhaps they will download a white paper from our website. Perhaps they will reach out to us, fill out a form on our website, or just click on please contact me, or perhaps interact with a chat bot on our website that will say, I would like to ask more information. And we all know what a CRM system is, yes? A CRM system is used to manage your sales activity. I would absolutely recommend to have a CRM system as soon as you start your first sales. It will give you structure. It will give you an overview of your business. Don't work from an Excel sheet. There are very good CRM systems that have a freemium account, for example, HubSpot. But there's also Pipedrive, Salesbox, there's tons of them. But HubSpot is specifically generous with startups, just because they believe in startups, that as they grow, they can continue using HubSpot. HubSpot, they have sales and marketing and even customer service pieces of CRM, which can be very useful. So once we have populated it in CRM, and again, we can connect it to our website. And for example, we can automate workflows. They're called workflows, where as soon as the customer will download a white paper or visit a pricing page, for example, you will decide what is the trigger that will tell you that they're interested. It will be populated in the CRM, and you will get a notification. So you know it's a hot lead. You will reach out to the customer. In a bigger organization, is assigned qualified lead to a rep, so a sales rep that will contact the lead. If it's and will qualify, so they will qualify. Yes, we can help this customer. We schedule a meeting. We do a discovery. We understand their needs in depth. We communicate value proposition, and then we send out a proposal. Perhaps there's a negotiation and a close. This is where most sales cycles stop. We forget to ask for a referral. Whether we sold or not, we can always ask for a referral. A referral is a warm lead. We can just ask, is there any other company, any other person that they know that we can help just as we are helping them? You will be surprised at how many referrals you will get. And once it's a warm lead, you can contact them directly. Perhaps they will even give you the name of the person you should reach out to. And with a warm lead, your chances of closing that deal are higher than 60%. Okay, so don't forget the referral. The same with outbound. The difference is how we generate the lead. This will be a multi-channel outreach and go through the same steps. Any questions on the sales cycle? Nope. Okay. Now, this is a little busy as a slide, but the buyer's journey is just a roadmap. How they make the decisions. And the main stages are, first, they are unaware. This is the first stage. They're unaware that they have a problem, or they're unaware that there is a solution different than how they're solving that problem today. Perhaps they're working from an Excel sheet, and they're unaware that there's a piece of technology that actually can help them and shorten the way they work, the shortened amount of time. Perhaps it's even cheaper. We don't know, right? But they're unaware about it. They don't know that there is a solution. Obviously, in that stage, we cannot sell anything to them because they're unaware. Here, we still are in, and usually in this stage, this is marketing's job. This is not a sales job. It's marketing's job to educate customers who are unaware they have a problem, or they're unaware that there is a solution that is better than what they have today. Because they are solving that problem in some way today. Okay. The second stage is that they are aware. They're aware they have a problem, but they're not ready to change. Perhaps they never thought about it, but they're just not ready to change. So we still cannot sell anything to them. This is still a marketing job. This is MQL, marketing qualified lead. Okay. Now, in consideration stage, they are aware of they have a problem, and they're aware you might be able to solve it. Okay. Here is tricky. And here's a lot of times, sales start selling. The customer is in consideration stage, but they're not ready to buy. Okay. So in some cases, it can still be marketing. In some cases, we can get a deal here. In general, it's said that we still shouldn't be selling here. Now, when they're in valuation, then we can start selling. This is sales. Goes to sales. The customer has shown interest that potentially they are considering that your solution can solve the problem. They're open to change and asking, but you will have to decide, what is it? What will indicate in this process that the customer is ready to sell, is ready to buy? Is it because they will ask for pricing? Is it because they will ask specific questions about your product or solution? And again, you will understand that as a process, in the process. Okay. This is where you are helping them to make that decision. And the steps that we need to take, right? Do we provide them more relative information? Do we tell them we have helped other companies like them? And what was the impact? We help them to make that decision, to make that leap. We provide information that will help them make the decision. Any questions?
Yeah, how do we transition from 3 to 4 without sounding too like we're trying to sell it too hard?
Okay. We're storytelling.
Yeah.
If we can master storytelling, we won't have to hard sell anyone. We'll tell a story about how we helped another customer solve the same or similar problem and what impact it had on their business, on their personal life, or depending on what we're selling again. And the storytelling also helps us a lot when we are handling objections. When we hear a common objection about whether it's timing is not right, pricing, or whatever that is, we storytell. You remind me of this and this customer of ours. When we talked to them, they were in a similar position as yours. They were hesitant to take the leap because of this and this reason. At the end of the day, they did it, and they never looked back. This was the impact. They saved time, they saved money, they were able to transition open a new market, they had new customers, whatever the impact is of your product and solution. Storytelling helps us sell in a more human way. That's why testimonials are so big. Mm-hmm.
I have another question. So if you're one of those smaller companies that make around 2K, right? So you don't really have the resources, or you're not going to hire anyone, and most of this goes kind of online. How does that look then? Because now that you're talking, I can imagine a face-to-face personal interaction, going through the stages. But how does that consideration/evaluation stage go when everything is online and you actually don't know what's happening in the brain of people?
Of course. So in your case, the product is you.
Yeah. Mainly.
And it's very, very different, right? So when you are the product, people will buy your expertise They will buy your experience. They will buy, you need to build your brand. You will be representing your brand, right? The way you reach out to your customers, again, once you have identified them, will definitely be more inbound. You can use ads to target them. At the same time, you can use questionnaires, or not questionnaires, self-evaluation, for example, document. Makes me think of those ads when you have take this quiz and define your fitness level, or take this quiz and understand what kind of body type you are, or whatever. You know what I have in mind? Yeah. And at the same time, for you to generate leads, what works well is webinars, where you will be sharing information. You'll have an online webinar where you will invite more of your potential buyers that will be sensitive to a certain topic. To register to your webinar, they will need an email address. Mm-hmm. And then, you can kind of, once you have a process wrapped around that as well. Once you have completed the webinar, obviously not selling anything, but you are showing the product, which is you. Okay. And then you will be following up with them, adding more and more value that might be interesting to them. You will share more information, and again, inviting them perhaps for a one-on-one if they're interested further, to have a one-on-one session or assessment that you may offer free 30-minute session perhaps. And if you can qualify them as a customer, and then if they're interested, you will send a proposal.
Yeah, that's great. Thanks.
You're welcome.
Helpful.
Okay. Any other questions? That was the reason why I asked what you guys do, because then I can tune in more into your specific use case and your specific what you are trying to do. Should we have like a 10-minute break before we go any further? Would that be useful? Yeah. Okay. So it's 43 now. It's say 5 minutes to the hour. We'll come back. All right. Great. I'll see you in a bit. All right. And hope you still have some energy left in you. We're getting there. Right. Let me keep sharing my screen. Right. So we said the best way to help our buyers buy is to tune in the way they buy. And very often we have marketing efforts waving their arms, making the buyers aware that we have a solution. And then as soon as we get their attention, the sales team grabs them and starts selling them hard. And that's a problem, obviously. But it happens every day in a lot of organizations. And what we can do, or try to adjust at least the way we sell is have a clearly defined sales process and playbook, like we discussed earlier. Understand or have an understanding which triggers will help us, will indicate to us that the buyer is ready or not ready. Maybe they're just window shopping. And what is the process? When do we start actually selling to them? And we'll map our process to their journey, depending on which stage they're in. So perhaps have clearly defined understanding what does that mean when our customer, and again, for every company will be different because we're selling different solutions to different customers, right? But just have a think with the team. What is it that will tell us this customer is ready to buy or they're not ready to buy? And if they are or they're not, what is the action that we need to perform? Is it provide them more information? Is it show them a demo? What is the action that we will take to help them in this process? Especially have never bought a solution like yours before. It's innovative solution. It didn't exist before. They've never bought anything like that before. They're uncertain if that will work for them, right? So they need to warm up to it, be open to change. So how do we help them in the journey until they're open to change? In a bigger organization, it's important that we align sales and marketing efforts to make sure that we are aligned and we're going for the same goal in the same direction. That we help them buy the way they want to buy, not the way we want to sell. Everyone likes to buy. We all like to buy, but nobody likes to be sold to, right? When we walk into a store, just a simple example. Some of us go directly to the person at the store and say, we are looking for this and that. Because this is the way we buy, right? Some others will walk into a store and say, nope, I don't need help. I just want to look around. Perhaps I'm not ready to buy. I just want to window shop. I want to consider the options. It's exactly the same. I'm evaluating different solutions to the problem that I have or a goal I'm trying to achieve. I need a dress for a wedding. I'm attending a wedding. I need a dress. I walk into a store, and if I know exactly what I need, because the bride asked me to have a pink dress that is long or short or have a specific indication, I walk into a store and say, do you have a pink dress of this and this size? Because I'm ready to buy. If I just need a dress, I haven't made up my mind which color, what type, I don't know yet. I walk into a store and I want to window shop. I want to see different sizes, different types to see which will fit me best. So we need to understand our buyers and where they are in their journey. And that's the journey the customer is going through. They're either ready to buy or they're not. So which will be the trigger and how do we qualify them? What is the question that we will ask? Sometimes they don't know what they're looking for. Sometimes they don't know even they have a problem. So we need to educate them, right? As we talked in the early stages, that they're not even aware, okay? And we need to have the right tools, not only the process, but also the right tools to execute that sales playbook, to execute those type of activities that we decided. If the customer is in this stage, this is what we do. If the customer is this stage, we take them, we demo them. Right? We take that pink dress and put it in the dress, say, go in the changing room. Right? These are the three dresses these are your three options. See which fits you best. The changing room is there. That's your demo, right? We're demoing it. So this is the way we can help them buy. Okay. Sales team. So about the sales team, in some cases, like Nicole initially probably won't have a sales team. She will be the sales team. She will be the product. She will be everything. Full force. In some other cases for the businesses, we need to start thinking, once we have achieved the product market fit, we have customers lining up for our solution, we need more hands. What do we do when we're in early stage? Do we need a head of sales? Do we hire a couple of SDRs? Do we go for full cycle sales professionals that go from lead generation to close? I'm assuming you're familiar with the SDR AE structure, where SDR is the sales development representative and account executive, where SDR is just focusing on generating the leads. AE is focusing on finalizing the deals. Right. What I have seen work well with startups, and again, some startups start from SDRs or from lead generation person. Some use external companies. There's companies that generate leads for you. That might work in the beginning. At the same time, an external company will never tune in 100% to your goals and 100% to your customer or your use case. And that's fine at the beginning until you get your first customers. Once you're an established business, once you're in growth stage, you definitely want to hire someone in your sales team. I personally would recommend at the beginning, in growth stage, to have a full cycle sales professional. It has worked in the past for a lot of companies, which means a professional that knows how to generate leads, can demo, knows how to close, just offers the full cycle, can serve your customers in the full cycle. Because at the beginning, it's still quite tricky, especially when you work for a startup. A lot of ambiguity, a lot of things change. If you hire very junior people only, they will need direction. If you are, as a founder, too busy to provide that direction, you will need a head of sales or someone with more mature experience to guide your SDRs, to guide your junior sales representatives or business development people, however you want to call them. Okay. So what I have seen, the scenarios that I have seen work for startups, they hire one or two younger professionals, meaning younger in their expertise. So perhaps SDRs, and then they have a fractional head of sales, perhaps part-time, or someone who provides them with direction, who can build the process for you, because SDRs are too, most of the time, too young in their career to be able to build a process around what you need, around your buyer's journey. So you need someone more professional or more senior in the role. So that I've seen that work quite well. Or you have a full cycle sales profession, a couple of full cycle sales professionals that can be young or in media, kind of in the halfway in their career. But again, you need someone to give direction. Yeah. So these are the playouts that I've seen work quite well. If you hire a head of sales as your first hire in a startup, that can be a problem sometimes, unless your head of sales is ready to roll up the sleeves and instead of just doing strategy, they're happy to do the work as well at the beginning and then build out the sales team. A lot of times, head of sales can be too far out for a startup because they're used to building processes, managing teams, and it can be too senior for an early startup. However, like I said, you need someone who does the work, but you need also someone who drives the strategy and drives the process. Depending again on the budgets that you have at the beginning. Metrics. We're not going to go into metrics. I just want to say that because for the same reason, a SaaS company will have different metrics than a coaching company, than a tire, a recycling tire business. Okay. And that's very one-on-one sessions and looking more closely into the business. I just want to stress that metrics is extremely important from the very beginning. Start measuring everything that's measurable from the very beginning. When we're driving, what are we going to measure? Are we going to measure fuel consumption? Are we going to measure speed? What will tell us, which is the metric that will tell us that we're driving in the right direction? Okay. Perhaps all this at the very beginning, when you're just building your business, can be vague and you will not clearly know which metric is important. Measure everything you can. Then you will understand kind of as you go, okay, this is probably not important because it doesn't really show me anything. Show the right data that I can use in my business. Right? But again, as I said at the beginning, talk to your customers. Talk to your customers early and often. Once you have enrolled them, start a newsletter. Even if they don't talk back to you, create a community-like feeling that the customers know you care about them. You're not just enrolling them, because churn will be one of the most important metrics, again, depending which type of business you are in. But it will be one of the most important metrics, because acquiring a new customer than selling to an existing one. Okay, so start measuring early. Sales tech stack. There are so many. This is really the tip of the iceberg of how many tech solutions there are in the market to help sales teams sell. Optimize the sales process. Okay. So this is just really a couple. So what you really need at the very, very beginning is a laptop, a phone, and a CRM system. CRM system, I would say, is the first thing that you will need to track your sales efforts and to have, it gives you a systematic process. That's the beginning of your process, how you will do sales. Your follow-ups, that you don't lose your customers. That you don't lose track of your customers. Lead Feeder, again, is just one of the tech solutions to track your website visitors. This is one of the from what I hear now, that is quite economic solution. So it's good for startups. We'll have Zoom or Teams. We'll use something to meet our clients, and also for internal. Obviously, when you have a team, internal communications. CRM system, like we said, we have HubSpot, we have Pipedrive, we have Salesbox. Salesbox is really very economic solution. It doesn't fit for all companies, but yeah, something to explore. HubSpot, as I mentioned before, has a freemium that I would highly recommend, even for early stage companies. Then you will need perhaps a database where to find your customers, so customer information. There's Lusha.com, there's SalesQL. Some of them have browser add-ons that once you hover over LinkedIn, if your customers are on LinkedIn, for example, it gives you the email address and the phone number of the customer of the person. SalesQL, for example, integrates directly with HubSpot. So if your customers are on LinkedIn, that's a very fast way to generate leads. Sales Navigator is a really fast way to filter out your potential customers by the criteria that you have defined in your ICP, by geography, by how much revenue they generate, or whatever other criteria you have in your ICP, or by personas. Then if they are on LinkedIn, for example, you hover over with SalesQL over their profile, and it will give you email addresses and phone number, and it can directly go, you decide that it goes directly into your HubSpot. And from there on, you start your sales process. You can have sequences. Now, for who is not familiar with sequences, it means that you can build out a series of messages, calls, activities, a series of activities that will help you communicate with the customer. They say that it takes up to 16 touch points, different activities, to have a customer's attention. If we're talking about cold leads, cold calls, cold emails. So so HubSpot will help you have that process. We can have templates, we can have personalized messages that we will send out to the customer, that we will communicate to the customer and try to have them, to have their attention. We can call them, we can email them, and Lusha and SalesQL will help you get those email addresses and phone numbers. If we are fans of email automation, now email automation, if it's not personalized, it is effective to a certain point. This is if we're, depending on what is our approach. If our approach is numbers, to contact as many people as we want to in that fit our ICP, and just communicate to them that we exist. Email automation is a good way to do it. if we want to generate leads and our approach is more to quality, personalized emails are more effective. Personalized means I went on the website, I learned about them, and I'm contacting them, and it's valid for email or phone call, saying, I know whatever the criteria is that will show us that this is our customer. I know you're using Office 365. We serve customers that have this issue and use 365. And we have helped them to solve this issue in this way with this impact. Would you be interested to know how we do it, or would you be interested to know more? With more personalized. I noticed your LinkedIn post on Friday about this and this. I understand you are experiencing this and this. I'm talking to you, Nicole. We have helped, other individuals like yourself trying to achieve this goal successfully. Are you open for a conversation? Would you like to know more how we did it, how we helped them? Perhaps we can, identify if and how we can help you too. Okay, so if we're going for quality, personalization is a must. If we're going for a more of a approach in quantity, then we can use email automation. And some of the solutions out there is Snovio, Outreach, SalesLoft. Now, Outreach and SalesLoft probably are more for growth stage companies. They're more expensive. Snovio is a little bit more affordable. Not sure if you're familiar with LinkedIn automation. This is interesting if your customers are on LinkedIn. I've used both Expandy and Dripify. I currently use Dripify, and I like it more than Expandy. But there are other solutions out there. So Dripify allows you to automate your outreach. Now, obviously there are rules on how to do it. Just making sure I'm not going over time here. So it's very effective, for example, with saving time when I want to connect to the right people. So I can go on LinkedIn Sales Navigator, but also on just regular LinkedIn. I can filter out the people that I want to talk to that are my ICPs, let's say startup founders. Then I can copy paste that link or URL into Dripify, and Dripify will scrape those profiles, add it into campaign. So I create, for example, Connect campaign, where Dripify will, on my behalf, will connect with them. I can personalize a message saying why I'm trying to connect with them. And if they don't connect right away, it can view their profile. It can like a post for me without me doing anything. And it can try to connect again. If they connected, I can then continue, for example, sharing a message. Please don't try to sell anything with your connect, with your first connect. People will not connect, or try to sell them something right away when they connect. It won't work. Build a relationship, let them breathe. You connected, let them be. You will come back later and then have a conversation. We've been connected for some time. I'm sorry I didn't introduce myself. This is what I do. Happy to stay connected for network purposes, or, if I can help with anything, if this is in your interest, we're happy to help. Okay. Video prospecting is very effective. We can do follow-ups. We can use Vidyard, but there's also other solutions out there. Just a quick video to follow up, for example, is very effective. Leaving a voice message on LinkedIn is very effective. You know that you can do that, right? Now for notes, for organized notes, I use Evernote. They also have a freemium. Once you start using Evernote, I'm very biased, of course, but I use it so much. I use it for my personal, for work. I find everything in there. You can add tags to the information that you want to find. It's very effective. EverSign, you can use also. There's a freemium for assigning contracts at the beginning, with your customers. It's very useful. Zapier is a solution that connects all your other tech solutions. You can connect your HubSpot to a Excel sheet that you want to import. You can connect to SalesQL to Snobio and automatically make the data flow from one app to another, so you don't need to do anything, and then connect directly, input it into HubSpot. It's magic. But once you're ready for it, look into it. But this is just, again, the tip of the iceberg, and every single solution that I put out here will probably have an alternative that is either more expensive or less expensive. Again, tech is to help you save time in your sales efforts. But for the very beginning, all you need is laptop, phone, and a CRM. That's it, really. So the $1 million question is, do founders need to sell? Do they need to know how to sell? What's the answer? Diana, I see that you're raising your hand.
Yeah. Hello, Monika.
Hello.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. Thank you very much for this topic, because I think it's really important to know how to sell good, because without it we can't do nothing with even if we have a really good product. So I want to ask you about books. Books or movies. Yeah, maybe you can recommend something, or maybe you can recommend great sales person who can do it really good, and we can follow him and try to inspire.
Of course. Diana, what do you do?
I am designer, writer, and entrepreneur.
Okay.
So I do a lot of different things.
Okay. I would say, depending on what your business is about, there's a lot of sales leaders that I would suggest following on LinkedIn as well, if you're there. They share every day really good tips on cold emails, cold messages, phone calls, statistics, anything that you would be interested in. If you would like to give me your email address, I can send you the list that I follow.
I will write you in LinkedIn, okay?
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
In terms of books, I don't have it here. I think I have it downstairs. There's a couple of books as well for entrepreneurs. I can't remember now exactly how it's called. But again, I can send you that. If you want, all of you, I can send a couple, the sales influencers that I follow on LinkedIn. And also a couple of books that I found useful for early stage startups.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm. Questions?
So do founders need to know how to sell?
I would say so. They not necessarily have to sell, but they definitely knowing how it needs to be structured is definitely helpful, especially when you're hiring your sales leaders and sales team to understand whether they are qualified for the job. If you have no idea what to ask and how sales should be done, outbound, inbound, all this process, strategy, account-based marketing, if we don't know, if we have no understanding of how sales and marketing is structured, it's probably very hard also to hire the right talent unless we, go to an agency that is specifically hiring sales leaders that can help us. Then yes, but knowing the basics of sales I think is absolutely necessary. And again, at the beginning, we'll probably, as founders, you'll find yourself selling.
Yeah. And so for a one-man show kind of a situation, where to start? Because, it's a lot of stuff that you have to do and a lot of sales stuff. So what's the 3 most basic stuff that you need to have covered?
First of all is ICP.
Mm-hmm.
Define who your customer is. From the beginning, if you don't know yet, for example, you can have 2, 3, 4 maximum ICPs, different ICPs, and do a market research, with meaning talk to them. Once you have talked to enough people in these categories, because it's market segmentation, right? You segment your market. You can understand who are the customers that your expertise meets the best. Which of those 3 or 4 that you have segmented or identified will benefit most from what you have to offer? Will they be able to and willing to pay for it?
Mm-hmm.
Then once you have again, it's a process, right? It will take you some time, and you might have to adjust and pivot, perhaps then, you realize you think that this ICP will be the most profitable. Then you realize, they have problems with payment. Perhaps they're willing to, to have you or to have your services, but they're not willing to pay or not able to pay. And you have to make perhaps payment plans just to their needs. But then there's another ICP that is equally benefiting from your service and is able to pay. So perhaps you can concentrate more on this type of customer.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So it's a process, but I think that's the first step. Get a CRM.
Mm-hmm.
Organize your tools for the job. You will need a Calendly, perhaps link where they can schedule themselves into your directly into your agenda. See if you can prepare in your specific use case. Perhaps a document or a form that they can use to qualify themselves in one category or another that will show you that this is a potential customer for lead generation. Look into having a webinar, a blog, or a podcast where you can share your content. I would say these are the kind of the first things I would do.
Amazing. Thanks.
And connect to your customers online. If you can create a group, whether it's a Facebook group, a LinkedIn group, where you invite your potential customers to join, that could be a good way for Legion to generate leads.
Mm-hmm.
Again, if you're, perhaps this is not your forte, perhaps you will need another founder or another person who is strong into content creation. This is part of the process as well.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Amazing. Thanks a lot.
You're welcome. Any other questions? Nope. This is my contact information, but you find me on LinkedIn. I literally live on LinkedIn because my customers are there. So I'm happy to connect with you. And again, please share your email addresses if you are interested in receiving information about sales influencers to follow on LinkedIn, and a suggestion of a sales book or entrepreneur's book to read. Happy to share. All right. Thank you, everyone, so much. It was, let me just stop sharing. It was amazing to interact with you, to meet you. And I hope you will have an amazing start of your business. Continue building your business wherever you are in the journey. I will be following your success.
Thank you. Thank you for
Thanks
the
so much.
information and the presentation.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Amazing.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.